Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of The Committee Reads. I am your host KWCs, and with me today I have Grayshot151, GVR, Joe, and Nagoda. And today we will be reading Match 162, Black Moth vs. King Caesar by Andrew Sudomersky. Along the sacred Okinawan shores, Black Moth is a literal claw away from slicing.
KWCs.
Okay. I'll lay off of that. The joke has already been made twice. We've accepted it.
No, I'm saying KWCs as in, what were you thinking when you wrote this?
Oh, right. I have the answer. I wasn't.
This match is already giving me brain damage from scrolling down it.
Is a literal claw away from slicing the Izumi princess open. She had little intent on killing her, only using it as a threat to get the royal daughter of the Izumi line to do as she commands. For now, Nami is her hostage. Yes, but it wasn't the princess she wanted, but the king. A creature as old as the ancestral line of the Izumi family itself, if not older. Long ago, a brown monster appeared and warded off foreign invaders from the Okinawan region and was praised as a god to its people. A golem that inspired the mythical Shisa, King Caesar. A deep growl of irritation is getting her. She double-checks once more, recalling the old folk legend of the Okinawan guardian. When the moon is red and the sun rises in the west, two monsters will rise to save the world. Of course, that legend came to pass decades before, thusly no need to heed its words. All that was needed was for the statue, in a mold of a Shisa with rubies embedded in its eyes, to awaken the mighty golem once more. Black Moth scours her memory banks about last night. As it would seem, timing is everything. A scarlet moon that is seen the skies above during the previous night. For people of older generations, this was interpreted as a wary sign of the apocalypse or a bad omen. It wasn't until selenologists came across a rational explanation for the red-colored moon, a lunar eclipse, where a full moon is cast under the Earth's shadow. She glanced to her left and right, seeing the odd, alluring sight of two suns to the east and west. This, too, had a rational explanation to back it up. Or at least...
Okay, so intelligence is a real word.
It is. No, I made sure...
Study of the moon.
Yep, no, it is... I made sure... I have more to say on that, but, let's finish with the match first. This, too, had a rational explanation to back it up, or at least one that should be made the most sense. In most circumstances similar, the likely appearance of a secondary sun can only be explained by optical refraction, often creating mirages as atmospheric particles bend light in strange ways. To see a lunar eclipse and double sun phenomenon occur in a short span of time is truly a spectacle to behold. But for the winged lion hybrid, the scientific side of life was not her investment. As a human, she was a military captain by the name of Kroiga, who went rogue and joined the sinister Dr. Malik on his crusade to conquer the world. Yet after she met her demise by assassination, she was turned into a literal monster. With the doctor's failure coming back to bite him, she destroyed the vessel Black Shark and fled the exploding island base that they once resided at. Since then, she had been looking the world over for a challenge to prove herself worthy. As the suns rise from the horizon, the embedded rubies reflect the beautiful blaze of the sunlight and its mirage. The jewel eyes absorbed the solar energy, then fired a concentrated beam of red light aimed at the stack.
Don't retcon your failures.
Yes, I did. I'm going to do it live here, suckers.
You can't write the HD restoration now.
Try me. Why he did the HD restoration, right? This was all a long con.
We're doing a live. We're doing a live writing of the KWC remastered.
Yes, I have a live mixer here right now, and I'm changing it as we go.
KWCs only started the HD restoration project, not for anything to do with the blog format and all that, just so his old crap gets fixed.
Yes.
Just so we don't have to see present tense under the name Andrew Sudomersky.
Right. But that's what the committee reads for, is to preserve the crappiness. Kinda.
Then why are you retconning your failure now?
I'm irritated
with your failure.
Suffer through the cringe, Kaiju.
Hide your
Accept
shame.
your failures.
Anyway, an eruption of rocket sparks explode and fall to the shallow waters below, revealing the mighty form of the legendary monster of the olden days. Pass.
The Azumi princess falls to her knees, hands folded in a prayerful state. She couldn't move, or otherwise she would meet her demise with the feline claws before her. King Caesar, Nami whispers quietly, rise and awaken, for your people seek your help at a time of need. Still on her knees, the princess sings an ancient hymn, passed down from generation to generation of the royal bloodline, a song to summon King Caesar from his slumber. Black Moth, impatient and irritated, emanates a deep rumble, displaying her thinning patience with her song. As she comes to a close, a disturbance catches the mammalion's attention. Another explosion, faster than the previous one, showers sparks and boulders into the coastal waters of Okinawa. An epic roar booms from a distance. King Caesar has awakened. For Black Moth, this pleases her greatly. Now she may settle the matter and needs no use for her hostage anymore. Okay, that's good on you. Goal is achieved. Hashtag life goals.
To get the authentic King Caesar awakening experience, we should have Greyshot sing the King Caesar song for 5 minutes.
Caesar,
and then we're all Black Moth, just annoyed and irritated.
Well, back to the match. With a casual swipe, the mixed match hybrid flings Princess Nami across the shore, crashing hard against the soft sands. Well, that was just uncalled for.
That was rude.
Well, far from having lethal injuries. Oh, okay, she's still alive. Cool. She suffers from several minor fractures and joint pains. As the Okinawans, including that of the High Priest, take her away from the inevitable battlefield and flee further inland. The sight of this angers the mighty golem Shisha. These people he vowed to protect, as he is their king. His ears perk up and his ruby eyes shine brightly in the mist of the clouds of dust. In a single bound, he crashes into the body of water with his feet, then charges towards the winged abomination as his legs part the salt water before him with crashing waves. She stands on her hind legs as a form of animalistic intimidation, showing off her impressive height. The roar of a lion echoes from her maw, ready to take on the challenger. She yearns to face. Without a moment's notice, the Azumi deity collides with the byproduct of freakish science. Black Moth claws into the Shisa's rocky flesh, only for her strength to continuously increase. With a series of heaves, King Caesar shoves against the winged mammal across the white sands to the inland terrain. Beating her wings, Black Moth kicks up the loose dirt and sand into the air as she tries to sustain aerial mobility. Scraping talons across rock and flesh, the lion beast frees herself by manically slashing and whipping her tail, which surprisingly flinches the stone giant and grants her access to the air. Pass.
I want to point out, this is also your fault for accepting this and posting it as it is.
I want to make note. I was new. I want to make note. I had a. I did read this. I just assumed it was a style of writing. I didn't know it was wrong. I'm being honest with that one. I thought it was like, oh yeah, he's still using past tense. That's a different style. It's fine.
No. I thought I told you to make it clear. If there are mistakes, please correct them.
Oh no, yeah. Like I'm not going to. Oh yeah, it should have happened. I just assumed. When I started reading this, I'm like, this is not a style I like. But I guess Kaiju X just kind of has his own writing style for like present tense. I mean, that's fine. You know, no need to judge.
Present tense in fiction is a mistake.
You're not wrong.
Great shot. You should have rewrote 80% of this match.
My first line: Black Moth retired. End match.
I love how Greyshot's just like, writing in present tense is just like a form of style. It's just like a style. I don't like it, but it's what Kaiju X wants to do, and I'm fine. And I'm fine with that. Now all of us looking back on it, like, present tense in fiction is a mistake. This is an abortion.
It's like the British Bake Off if someone just like caught their food on fire, and it's like, oh yeah, this is a lifestyle choice. I've made.
Yeah. Yeah, the British Bake Off. You burnt your food into a crisp. Well, I like my food crunchy. Okay, taken aback by the golem's reaction, Black Moth devises a strategy. From the ground, King Caesar, his ears now floppy, focuses his attention on her, not letting her out of his sight. Circling around him like a vulture waiting for the death of its prey, the aerial feline scans for a weak point to exploit. Despite his material being composed of stone, gems, and various minerals and metals, his outer body shows no signs of exposed joints to sever the tendons, leaving only one option open to her. That was a long sentence, first of all.
Oh my gosh! Oh, wow.
His eyes, which are made out of gemstone. That's totally a weakness.
Totally.
With this revelation in mind, Black Moth tucks her wings in and dive bombs her way directly towards King Caesar. She sees him preparing to strike, but she keeps soaring in his general direction. Before she came into his range of attack, Black Moth unfolds her feathery wings. The wind force against her wings slows her aerial momentum drastically, giving her enough time to see the leaping dog beast plummet to the earth below, failing to grasp her legs to pull her down with him. As King Caesar crashes on his 2 feet, Black Moth made her descent and tried to gouge out his ruby eyes with her wailing talons. The mighty Caesar repels the flurry of claws with his stone hands, shielding his face from harm. Chipping away at his rocky flesh, Black Moth eagerness to tear the Black Moth eagerness to tear
Guys,
the
that's just KWCs' writing style.
I'm glad he changed it.
Yeah. So did I. So am I.
This is like if a model came onto the runway wearing garbage bags. It's a style. No, it isn't.
It's still garbage.
However, in a swift motion, King Caesar frees his other arm and jabs the lion beast in the gut, resulting in a roaring pain that echoes across the land. Before Black Moth could recover from the agony, a sudden roundhouse kick slams against her face and mane, nearly cricking her neck out of place. Cricking.
That's just a funny word. I don't think it's wrong. I think it's just a funny word. Just like...
Well, just like...
It is a pretty funny word.
It's like cricking it out of place. That doesn't sound correct.
No, it doesn't. Looking back at it. It's
like even if it's technically correct.
It's the icky equivalent of this match.
It's what your 90-year-old grandfather would describe what happens when he wakes up in the morning with his neck. That is what has just happened to a giant lion beast.
Like the genie from Aladdin.
Yeah. Just like, yeah, maybe that's technically correct, but cricking is not the word you would use to describe someone almost getting their neck broken.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. When I wake up, I nearly break my neck too.
Damn.
You don't crick your neck, you break it.
Her body skids across dirt while she moans with pain, uprooting the trees and shrubbery and kicking up a cloud of dust as her body drags on the ground. Picking up her aching body, spitting out the unnecessary dirt and flapping her wings to reorient herself, she cracks her neck back into place. She knew there was no time to readjust herself as the titanic golem is charging straight for her. Acting on instinct, she kicks up soil, fauna. Animals? Fauna is animals.
Yes! The poor animals!
There's just some sea turtles right there. It's like, it was a lovely day. Oh, God!
Holy moly.
And dust with her hind legs and beating wings create a shroud that will hide her. A shroud of animals. Just picking up a sea, all the sea life nearby, a bunch of turtles.
Fuck you, turtles.
Just turtles and a school of fish flying around her in an aura to hide her. Pass, by the way.
Okay, where are we?
Oh my gosh. I laughed too hard. Okay, King Caesar stops dead.
Dead in his tracks.
Yeah.
Lethal strike?
No, King Caesar stops dead in his tracks. That's the first.
Oh.
Have you found it?
Yeah.
Joe? Uh-oh. Joe, buddy, come back.
This thing's lit up, but he's not. I can't hear him.
Yeah, I can't hear him either. Joe?
Great job, Kaiju X. Your match killed him. I thought 164 was going to do that to people, but I guess I was wrong.
The plot.
Joe, one of the fauna.
He got kicked up by Black Moth. Poor Joe. He was among the fauna.
Joe was just on a nice vacation to the Okinawa beach.
He decided to live among the animals for a little bit, and then Black Moth just came in and kicked him up. Uh-oh. Yeah, no, hang on. I think something. I think a real error is going on here. Uh-oh.
Something's definitely wrong.
Yeah, no. Hang on a second. Joe, trying to. Yeah, no, hang on. Yeah, hang on a second. I'm gonna force disconnect Joe real quick. Okay, so now I have to force Joe back in somehow. Where is he? Joe. Okay. All right. You there, man?
Hi.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh!
When did I cut out?
Oh, we didn't even hear. You have to start over again if you were reading all.
Yeah,
that.
we didn't hear you read anything.
Yeah, I know.
So
You
it's like,
died.
okay, I'll start.
Black Moth killed
Nope.
you.
You're one of the
Black Moth
fauna she
killed me.
kicked up.
Okay. Okay, I gotta go.
Aw.
You
I'm
serious?
sorry.
Wait.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Alright, I'll take over.
See you guys.
All right, take
Okay,
care,
see you,
man.
man.
Son of a gun.
I'll read the next 4.
Okay, all right. Oh no, you take 2 and I'll take 2.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay. King Caesar stops dead in his tracks as the haze of leftover dirt particles and turtle particles consume him. His eyes are virtually immune and have no irritation from the dirt and turtles itself, yet his vision is hindered with the thick brown cloud. To compromise for the lack of sight, his floppy ears perk up once more. With enhanced hearing, he would be sure to know if she was on the move. As the dirty fog died clear. Dirty fog died clear.
I can't believe it's real.
His ears heard nothing. Neither did his eyes heard nothing. It says his ears heard nothing. Neither did his
I
eyes.
see that.
Oh my god, he has bat vision.
Yeah, quite
Yeah.
literally. Holy moly.
The threat vanished. The golem Shiza scans the horizon in a swift 360-degree turnaround, only to notice a shadowy blotch on the ground. Realizing the tactic too late, King Caesar darts his attention to the skies above to see exactly what he thought. The winged feline, now booming a lion's bellow upon eye contact, lunges at him from the sky. The first part of Black Moth to firmly imprint on King Caesar's face were her talons, doing precisely as she planned. Planting her paw on his face, her claws dig into the eye sockets, doing nothing. Extracting the ruby orb in all its glimmering glory. A painful roar emits from the Okinawan deity's mouth, revealing a glimpse of the inner workings of his cranium. A gleaming sky-bluish light from an even greater gem laid within his skull. In records past, this gem was used to bounce the plasma and energy of a large variety of projectile attacks, even from the likes of Godzilla's radioactive laser, after being absorbed through one of his eyes, then out the other. Tossing the eyeball aside, Black Moth is almost fixated on its beauty, but soon realizes the errors of her ways as King Caesar's broken hands strike her sides. The ensuing sound of the impacts resonated like shotguns firing, mercilessly pounding at her serum-enhanced body. Unable to tolerate the pain, she backs off and creates distance between them. As the one-eyed King Caesar rises to his feet, Black Moth readies herself for another lethal strike. Pass.
Her observations take note on King Caesar's condition post-eye removal. Thank you for the specifications. Unlike organic animals, which suffer from a sense of imbalance and sensory deprivation, the golem seems to be perfectly capable of using one eye in the place of 2. King Caesar is unlike any creature or mecha on the planet, so its ability to feel pain and yet adapt to missing jewels and limbs with relative ease confused her. but now is not the time to ponder for her, nor should be time to ponder for us of how this got passed. Both of the mammalian kaiju charges for each other. King Caesar treks through the landscape, and Black Moth hovering above the ground. The guardian hero would vanquish the threat by way of penetrating through her body with whatever if left of his fist. That should be was in reality, but tearing her apart from within. Black Moth fully intended to remove King Caesar's scalp and the gem that lies through the eye socket. There is no turning back for either of them now. The two close the gap between them, awaiting to see whose demise will befall them. Pass. Nagoda. Nagoda?
There he is.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was putting on. My phone case just came in the mail. I was just putting it on.
Okay.
Let's see. In the split second they meet, Black Moth shoves her forearm into King Caesar's socket. Evie shoves into King Caesar's socket, and she firmly grasps the shining crystal. Can you guys hear the dog in the background?
No.
No.
Okay. She firmly grasps the shining crystal. Her airspeed tears the organic organ, and the rest of King Caesar along with it, revealing the workings and various other jewels not seen surface. King Caesar simultaneously gutted the chest, essentially allowing the stone arm to rip wide open, pouring gallons of red blood with gray origins. Do they have to be gray specifically?
I think that was, I don't know.
Who did that in the last Black Moth match too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. As the two monsters passed, they both immediately collapsed from their and nearly headless King Caesar and a disemboweled Black Moth would be all there for the people to see. They would mourn and praise King Caesar all for the rest of eternity as he valiantly gave his life to protect his people all through, no matter who it was.
Draw between Black Moth and King Caesar.
So you could say he protected the world from devastation, united his people within his nation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think lions have gray organs.
I'm not entirely sure. I think that just I don't know where I got that from. I cannot. If that's something I did in 155, I guess that's just a mental headcanon thing. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you that one.
Like, are you trying to say Black Moth's organs are necrotic or something?
I don't know.
Is there like a breakdown or like an anatomy of the creature, kind of like what we have for?
Right. Again, not that I am aware of. I don't know. I think that was just simply personal.
Yeah, if it was design's choice, then yeah, no worries.
Yeah, no. As far as I'm aware, I think it's just personal interpretation. I don't think there's any official anatomical breakdown Black Moth that I'm aware of. If there is, dear gosh, I would not mind looking at that. But as it is now, I think this I feel very similarly.
You heard it here, folks. KWCs want to see the inner workings of Black Moth.
Why wouldn't I? It's a lion mixed with a person mixed with a condor. What's not to see?
In other words, KWCs is the perfect of Black Moth.
Yeah, just look up the anatomy of lions, then look up the anatomy of condors, then use your head.
Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, no. I think I have a very similar... I got a very similar from this compared to 153. And that was... There is a perfectly fine, solid match written within here that has some neat things. It's just bogged down by the usage of present tense. Otherwise, it's like I don't... Yeah, no, I still like this match, in spite of the fact that it's written with present tense. It's like, that's the one thing I would hold back, and of course a couple of word changes here and there. But there's nothing...
Not fauna.
Right, not fauna. I mean, that was...
Flora, as I assume the word you were trying to do.
I guess? I really don't know.
Even though that's plants and they're on a beach.
Right. So it's like, that wouldn't make sense. But then fauna is equally whatever. Well, forget, yeah, no.
And fauna is animals.
So I do know this match has a little bit of history. Just a little bit. There's more to it than just I wanted to write this. I remember years ago, and this was well before, this was I think this was back in the old version of the KWC discussion thread. Like, not the one Titano made that we're using now. It was the one that came before that. And I think there was someone that was pushing super hard for Black Moth versus King Caesar. I think they got so annoying they were eventually banned and they never came back. But I never forgot that. Black Moth versus King Caesar. And I decided to say, you know what? If that one person's still here by a miracle and they find it, you win. Mission accomplished. I wrote a Black Moth versus King Caesar just for you, annoying person. Because it was also a match that was just like, yeah, no, you could do stuff with that. And I think this one's on the basic level, not anything crazy. But I like the setup. I like the going into the fight, and I still like elements of the fight. The biggest holdbacks are, again, just some weird word choices and the present tense usage. Otherwise, I still really like this. And I also am still, like, moderately happy with the banner. This was just one of those days where I was feeling extra picky. Like, I don't want to use Showa because we hadn't done the hybridizing thing yet at this point. So it's like, I gotta use Millennium King Caesar, but he's gotta have red eyes because that's what we're allowed to use. So I was like, you know what? I feel like using Godzilla Unleashed King Caesar. And I did a bunch of Photoshop modifications. And I mean a bunch. Because, posting it in the raw just did not look good. And one could debate whether or not it looks good now. But the point is, I did do a crack ton of visual modifications to King Caesar to make it look as good as I could make it. So, but the results, I personally don't find it, like, granted, it is kind of, the King Caesar model is kind of blocky. That's just the nature of the GU model. But, like, I'm still content with how it turned out. And I like the, like, dynamic action going on between the two. Like, Black Moth flying and then King Caesar's kicking. I still like it. I this is a banner I'm fine with. This is a match I'm still fine with. Just, gotta go back. Gotta make sure that this is cleaned up. Because I would not, I think this is a perfectly fine, perfectly serviceable matchup by all rights. Just, again, only held back by the usage of present tense and a couple of weird word choices.
Yeah, and I would generally agree with that statement, or that overview. I genuinely, I find the tensing very off-turning for me. But the actual story itself is good. The actual action is good. Again, the tensing is what kind of like, it's like putting a square item in a round hole. It's kind of grating for me, right. But it's still good. This is gonna sound bad. I'm not a fan of the tensing. I'm not the biggest fan of Black Moth, and kind of those two things together is probably why I didn't put as much looking into this match as I should have. I've been thinking, and I'll put a bigger statement more with 164, but Kaiju X, I'm surprised we didn't get, like, counter-revolutioned the moment we posted all these in advance. Because, like, we're going over these matches, right?
Yeah.
Where it was, like, 161, 162, and now we're going 3 and 4. I don't know what the 163 is without, off the top of my head.
Paragon versus Ultraman.
Okay, well, to me, it's just like, I'm like, wow, I'm surprised we weren't counter-revolutioned and thrown out for these matches.
Right, no kidding.
This is who the people that are running the KWC, the matches that they're making.
Don't worry, guys. It only takes 115 more matches before it gets better.
Well, again, it's not. Again, I think we've written far worse, and I think your last match was worse than this.
Yes,
I think this one is better paced. I think it's better spaced out, and I stress that immensely.
Yes,
people also I think the readers of the KWC just had lower standards back then.
Yeah,
agree. And now we have higher standards. And looking back on this, it's cool to see where your roots come from. But yeah, no, I genuinely think that It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I don't think it meets the quality or the standards of today.
Yeah.
Is the best way I can submit this match. I will say, I think the banner is a good action shot. For me, I always hate using the animated or 3D models if they really don't blend. This one, you can obviously tell it's the 3D model, but it is a cool action shot, so I'm willing to look past it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like it does look off seeing GU King Caesar next to live action Black Moth.
Right, and that's understandable, but if you at least, I think the reason I'm content with it is because it has action in it. If it were more stationary, I think I probably would have like swapped it out for something else. Though, granted, again, getting King Caesar Millennium specifically was always the difficult part. So,
it's like having King Caesar Millennium as the only option was stupid.
Right, it's almost as if they should have just went with Showa and stuck with that, or go with that, but make them flexible like the Millennium one. I don't know. That's just me, though.
But Millennium King Caesar can jump good, so therefore...
And do a roundhouse kick. Therefore, yeah. So.
Listen, I've seen the show interpretation. He's not much better. He's speaking.
Anyway. But yeah, no. I think, yeah. GVR, what'd you think of it?
There's a good match in here, but yeah, the present tense and just the way it's written in general, it kills it. Like, I do enjoy like the brief characterization we get of Black Moth, and like I said, there's a good match somewhere in here, but just the present tense, and it's written just so dryly.
Note to self.
Like the part that stood out to me for that is like when it's describing like, oh, the two suns going down and the moon, and that happens because of the light refractoring off. Like, I don't care.
Well, speaking of something you don't care about, I actually put research into this darn match. Gosh darn it. Like, that was a section that was like, my actual mentality at the time was, what's a realistic depiction of what's seen in the movie? And it's like, oh, a red moon could be a byproduct of the lunar eclipse. And then I had discovered an actual case where there were two suns at one point because of light refraction from the sun, or from the sky. So it was just simply, it's like, stretched to the extreme naturally, because it's like one's rising from the east, the other to the west, but it is a real thing. Like, yeah, no, what I have listed in here are real things, and that's what I wanted to convey through this, was just like, a little bit of additional realism is what I wanted. It's sure
that worked better with Heisei Mothra versus Jakiro and Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
With Jakiro's Machism, because it's short, it's brief, it's important to the match.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a full paragraph that's a science lecture written dryly.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. And I think there are, like, there were absolutely better, like, I think it could have just been implemented better, or, again, simplified to the point. I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not against that kind of thing in a match by itself. I'm just talking about, like, the way it's written here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the way it is in this match.
Mm-hmm. Yep, nope, entirely understandable, entirely reasonable. So, I do feel there was a really fun, solid match in here, but again, it is just held back by the way I used to write. Anything else, GVR?
The banner, I don't care much for the banner. Like, I do like the whole dynamic action, but just, the GU King Caesar next to live action Black Moth. King Caesar, like, sliding on one foot. And maybe I'm just being nitpicky at this point, but the blur on Black Moth looks weird to me.
Yeah, no, I think
the equivalent is like the blur from that King Kong versus Daigoro match.
Yeah.
It's like blur works, but sometimes it can go a little too far.
Yeah, you need the right amount of blur.
Yeah. Because, like, I want to convey speed, but I'm not. It's like, no.
It looks like Black Moth is phasing into another plane of reality.
A little too fast.
Like Black Moth's fast. That blur is for like a Dragon Ball character.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Should I have a similar blur going on with King Caesar for movement? Nagoda, what'd you think of the match?
Well, you say your banner is debatable whether it's good or bad, but I'm leaning on the side of it's bad.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah, mostly just because of the King Caesar model.
Oh, okay.
Just doesn't fit in. Black Moth.
Wait,
This is the you see King Caesar and he just sticks out so much. That's for the match itself. It's nice. The scientific stuff is good. What else? Like the actual fights were pretty fun. A lot of small there, yeah. Again, old days didn't really have standards back. Well, not high standards as we do now.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty fun. They just kill each other. A dual kind of last blow.
Mm-hmm. Literally picturing King Caesar in a banner for 162 sliding like a Gmod character.
What it looks like.
Yeah.
He's just on one leg, but he's clearly moving.
Right. He's supposed to be moving. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But yeah. With that said, this has been match 162. We'll see you guys next time for match 163. Till then, everyone.